Everyone, welcome to Library Search Strategies. I've just started recording the session, so be aware that you are being recorded. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple links in the chat that we will be going through throughout the session. All right, and I've got the slides here as well. A lot of it will be live searching, but you've got those so you have access. So welcome to our session, and we'll get going. My name is Rowana Nemeth, and I am the Instruction and Reference Librarian here at Athabasca University Library. I'm currently located on Treaty 7 territory, but Athabasca University does have a physical campus where we do have a physical library, and that's in Athabasca, right on the border of Treaty 6 and 8. And we do mail out books, so if you didn't know that, you can always order physical books from us and we'll send them to you. And I'll show you where you can find more information about that. So by the end of this session, you should be able to perform a search in the library databases, use keywords, Boolean logic, and filters, and be able to find additional supports. So we're going to start by going over keyword searching, doing some brainstorming on keywords. We've got quite a few activities. Then we'll take a look at Boolean logic and how you can put those keywords together. Then we'll put that together, and if we have time, we'll run some searches and see how that goes. And I'm also going to cover where you can go for additional information and where you can contact us. I'll show you where the FAQs are. Those cover a lot of the simple questions that we get a lot, and where you can find more on library tutorials. Okay, so I'm just going to pop over to the library homepage here. All right, and I'll show you where the basics of where you can get more information are. So we'll go over more about the search boxes later on in the session. But if you go up here to Get Library Support, you can go down. The frequently asked questions are here. They're easy to miss because they're in this box. So if you're doing a quick skim, it seems like it's something that often is missed. But you can search for basics like how to check out books, how to return books, if you're having trouble accessing databases, anything like that. That's all covered in there. And guides, tutorials, and webinars gives a lot of our library instruction and any support you might need. So I'll point out some of the basics and then we'll get down to the nitty-gritty of it. But the AU Guide to the Library Research Process goes through all the basics of starting your search, where to find articles, that type of thing. The Discover Research Guide covers searching from the main search box. Google Scholar goes over a lot of how you can access AU library links through Google Scholar and the really useful parts of Google Scholar like cited by. Boolean Search Guide, we'll go over some more of Boolean searching, but this provides some basic information about Boolean searching. And the Peer Review Guide covers what peer review is and where to find peer-reviewed articles, how to check if something's peer-reviewed. All of these have short videos too, so if you don't like heavy text, you can use videos. We've got our citation guide that goes over how to develop citations. And then the subject guides goes over, if you're involved in any of these subjects, it goes over, I'm just going to mute. Sounds like we're getting some background noise. Okay. All right, so subject guides, if you're involved in one of these subjects, it will go over more of the basics of searching or the specifics of searching within those subject guides, as well as databases to search in and any other information that might be useful in that topic. Also, for everyone that's joining, feel free to post questions in the chat. We'd also love to hear where you're from and what you're.
Oh. You muted yourself.
Thank you. I thought it said I was still unmuted. All right. So all I was saying is the subject guides go over the basics of more information about different subject areas. So you'll be able to figure out which databases would be best to use for your subject area if your subject area is listed in here. And special topics, this is the main one we're going to go over today, is Search Like a Pro. This link is a slightly older version, so we're waiting on our IT team to update it. So I'll provide an updated link. It's actually in the chat right now, the rise.articulate.com link. And the new library website goes over the basics of finding things on the library website. It's about 6 months old now, so it's more of a library website orientation now. All right. And the other thing I'll just point out that's quite important is over here under Find Resources. This is our resource portal, so that takes you to all of our databases. We're not going to get very much into those today, but we will be doing an orientation session later in the month, later in October, that will cover more of that. Okay, so we're going to start with an activity where we're just going to brainstorm some keywords that you might use to describe this image. So I'm going to post that answer garden link in the chat box. If you don't have the accessibility to have multiple windows open, feel free to add in words in the comments and in the chat, and we'll post them. But basically, let's go over how you would describe this image and just add any words. If you add something that someone else has already added, that's fine. That works great for a word cloud. So I'll just give you a little bit of time to add some of those in. Scroll up to the image so you've got a good access to it. And to everyone that just joined, this session is being recorded, and we're just trying to come up with terms to describe this image. All right, and I've added the link in the chat box, but if you aren't able to open multiple windows, feel free to put them in the chat and I will add them in for you. All right, so I've got travel, traveling, tourism. I think that's a fresh one. And good job, everyone. The basic idea here is just to come up with as many terms as we can, and it gives you an idea of what terms other people might be using. And I guess the variety of ways you can describe an image. Nice weather. Subjective, but we can add it. All right, and then we've got really, really specific ones here, like man, yellow backpack. I think backpack's one word. Tourist, Europe. Cycle career, good one, Mark. We have another one that says rickshaw too. Old Town. Awesome. So I think you can get the idea of how there's so many different aspects to this image that we can think about. And as we work to develop our own searches, we can decide how we want to focus. So someone might want to focus on marketing and yellow backpacks, or rickshaw and cycle travel, or cycle careers, we'll say. You might also want to look at like cobblestone. Or maybe you want to look at a broader idea like spirituality and pilgrimages in Europe. So that's just kind of a fun activity to get our brains rolling. And now we're going to think about developing our own search. So what we're going to take a look at is this search question, which is, what effect does online learning have on the mental health of youth? And so now we're going to go to our Jamboard, which I will share the link for. And we're just going to come up with as many keywords as we can that are related to these topics. So just go over here to the sticky notes. Also feel free to add these in the chat box as well. So if we were to add a sticky note, we'd do maybe youth, we'd say young people also. And then we can scroll it over there. Or we might want to say e-learning or mobile learning. So it's just a way to brainstorm, and then we're going to use this search a little bit later on in our session. So I'll just give you a minute or so to come up with some keywords there. And as I said, feel free to add them in the chat box. For anyone who's joined recently, feel free to ask any questions in the chat box as well. And we'll have time for questions at the end as well. Oh, see, sleep, I like that. It is definitely an important aspect of mental health. All right, good job, everyone. We've got some really good ones going here. I'm going to add them in. I have a basic search sorted out, so I was just going to add in any that other people came up with. This is great. You guys are coming up with some really good ones. I was having a lot of trouble with the mental health field of coming up with other terms when I was just quickly prepping. All right. And I'll add in the ones we're getting in here. So 18 to 25, put that in youth. And wellness. That over here. Slide these around so you can see them all. Psychological health. Yeah, we're really filling up this screen. We're gonna have to make our boxes smaller, but good job, everyone. Just make sure to add some of these we've got in chat in here. Mental wellness, good one. All right, and we've got online learning. We don't have online learning yet. Good job. All right. Social connections. Okay, I probably didn't get everyone that's in chat. Dandy or Jen, if you feel like adding any that you see that other people have added in chat that I didn't get to, feel free. But we're going to continue on. Okay, so great job, everyone. Now what we're going to talk about is how all of these terms can be linked together in our search. So I just have to scroll. This is a short course you can do. It's like 30 minutes or less on the basics of searching. So you can go back through this in your own time, but I'm just going to go over Boolean operators now, which are how we link our search terms together. So I'll use the example of the search we just did for that. I'm going to start by discussing OR. So Boolean operators are AND, OR, and NOT. So OR is what we're going to use to broaden our search. It will expand your search and all the terms. So if you look at the example here, using OR, we'll search for Piaget, theory of cognitive development, and constructivism, which are all related terms. So if we're to look at our search, which is a little bit busy, but I'll try and add in a couple ORs here. So you get the idea. All right. So we would use ORs between mental health and psychology. And we would use it over here we would use it between all of these terms, but between youth or young people or adolescent or school age. So hopefully that gives you the idea. I'll add in another OR over here for visual purposes. So we've got online learning or distance learning or mobile learning. And we'll go over a specific search string as we're continuing on. So you can get the idea, some examples that are listed here. We've got city or urban, deer or ungulate, incarceration or prison. Hopefully that covers some of how you can use OR to broaden your search, basically just coming up with as many synonyms as you can, which you guys clearly are pretty good at. We did pretty well in that activity. So if we take a look at AND is used to limit your search. So the example here is when using AND, it only searches what's in the center. So if we're searching for youth and motivation and e-learning, pretty similar to what we're looking at, we could probably put motivation as one of our wellness terms. It's only going to search for articles that are going to discuss youth, e-learning, and motivation. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how you can really use ANDs to focus your search. So the examples that we have in our activity here are scoliosis and children. That's going to be searching for articles that are about scoliosis and children, not just scoliosis or just children, as well as Alberta and food insecure, or robotics and farming. It's not just going to be searching for robotics. We're not going to get into e-driving or anything. It's just going to only be looking for articles that are about both robotics and farming. So if we go back to our brainstorming that I see everyone still taking part in, great job. I really like it. It's a fun activity. So we would use AND to separate, to to search between e-learning and mental health and youth. So I'm going to add one in here as well. And I'll show you a little demo of how we can use that a little bit later on as well. All right, so the last Boolean operator we want to look at is not. And this is one you want to be careful with. You don't always want to use it because it can really limit your search. So it can be a bit problematic because it will remove all terms about an item. So the example I like to give is when you're searching for articles about depression in teens, or in the case of our paper, if we were just looking for articles about online learning, mental health, and youth, but we keep coming up with articles about children and we kind of want to focus on like over 14, say, we could add not children. But the problem is there's going to be some articles that are about exactly what we're looking for, but are also about, might be comparing teens and children and their mental health in e-learning. So we'll miss out on some articles is basically the point. So here you can see in the Venn diagram we've got here is that we have advocacy, social cognitive theory, and we're looking for articles about that, but we don't want to have anything about marketing because probably we're getting a lot of articles about marketing. So we could use not marketing, but there's going to be a section here of articles that would be relevant to us that do discuss marketing that we're going to miss out on. So that's where you do that. And we're on to another activity to warm up on Boolean operators. So the general idea here is that we're going to decide if these terms, I'll read out the words and you can write in the chat if we should use or and. I'm going to try not to use or and, I'll just say the two terms together. And then I'll slide it over. So pet and therapy, see I said and there and I meant not to. We'll use an and, good job. You can see we're correct. So we'll be marked basically. So we're on to diet, nutrition. What do you think? Okay, we've got a lot of ors. Good job, everyone. All right, and nutrition, hospital.
And?
Yep, totally. Good job. Another and. Wetlands, species at risk. Okay, we've got more ands. Good job. That one's a little tricky because we often think of wetlands as species at risk. Death coping. All right, another and there. Good job, everyone. Homeless, housing insecure. Okay, we've got a couple of orbs. Seems like you guys are getting the hang of it. Good job. University, post-secondary. We got some more ors. Good job, everyone. Dog, canine. Getting some more ors. Good job, everyone. Cure, treatment. All right, got some more ors. Good job, everyone. Arts, confidence. Okay, we've got some ands there. Good job, we got 10 out of 10. So you can always go through that if I feel like it can be kind of confusing when you start looking at Boolean operators. So sometimes it's nice to be able to get your head wrapped around that. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about truncations. So when we get into a search, you want to be careful with these, but it gives you a variety of suffixes. So if we use an asterisk at the end of the root of the word, it will search for multiple words. So if you can see in our examples here, we've got advocate, searches for advocate, advocates, advocating, and advocacy because of the asterisks there. And child, searches for children, child, childlike, childhood, etc. So it can be really useful, but you do need to be a bit careful. One example I like to give is I was searching for research on cyberbullying, and I was using the term digital troll. So I had troll with truncation, which meant that I was getting research on trolls of both the mythical and online variety, as well as shopping trolleys, trolley buses, and Anthony Trollope. So maybe you want to be careful and make sure you put it as far at the end of the root of the word as possible. All right, so what we're going to do next, we have a bit of time, so feel free to add chat, any questions you're coming up with or anything you're confused about in chat. But what I was going to do next is go over our search and just see how far along we get with it from what we developed already. So first I'm going to give you a basics of our search boxes. Boolean's just, I think it's someone's last name. It's just and or not. So the way we develop our search string. Okay, so from our search boxes, we've got Discover, which is going to search a lot of our library databases, but not all of them. It's interdisciplinary. It's a good place to start with your research. Or if you're doing a very interdisciplinary topic, it can be really useful. Scholarly articles is Discover with the scholarly articles limiter added, so it's only going to be searching scholarly articles of the same databases Discover would be. The journal title search it's really useful if you're looking for a specific item. So we can, if we have time, we can go a bit more into that, but we also have a guide that covers trying to access articles if you have the full citation, so that's when that's really useful. It can be useful for skimming articles, so I'll give you or skimming journals. So journals, what the article is published in. So an example is I know that there's a journal called Distance Education. It's not keyword searchable. So if we scroll down here, you can see that we have Distance Education. AU Library has access in various different databases in various different years. So if we did want to skim and see what a specific journal had, probably the largest year period is going to be the most useful to get an idea, but it's not the best place to look for that type of thing. And then additional resources. This is actually our library catalog. So it's not very keyword searchable. So it's most useful if you have an article or a title of a book that you're looking for. The catalog is books, DVDs, anything the library owns. Most of our articles we get through subscription, so it's not something the library owns. Oh, thank you, Jen, for clarifying that George Boole invented Boolean logic. So from the library catalog, if we know the title of a book, I'm just giving you a little example. I'm going to do 25 years of ed tech. This is our additional resources tab. This takes you into our old school library catalog. So if you click on it, from here you can see that we do have it in our main collection. Someone has it out right now, but if you select request, this person will be asked to return the book and then it will be mailed to you. It takes a bit of time, but it can be really useful. But because this is also an AU Press book, AU Press is all open access ebooks, you can select here and take a look at it online as well. So that's just the basics of the search boxes. So we're going to go back to Discover, and I'm going to select the advanced search feature down here. And I'm going to put in, I didn't get all of your keywords in, but I'm going to put in some of them for the search we were coming up with before. So you can see we're using or between all of our related concepts. So our e-learning line, and then our mental health line, and then we've got our young people youth line. Down here, you can select scholarly articles. You can also select a specific time period, and we'll press search. All right, so from our results page, we can further limit. So say we only want to look at articles from the last 10 years. Wow, these are a wide variety, a lot of years here. So I'll go 2013 to now. You can also type it in. And we'll go peer reviewed. All right, so a couple of things to note once we're on this interface is you can look at the search history. So I just did a couple edits to our search. So we've got 3 different searches here. You can copy and paste this into a document so you have access to it. And yes, I can go over that. I was planning to. So I'll go back and do that. So first, I'll just cover your search history. Ovid doesn't always link directly from Discover very well, so there tends to be a lot of errors. So we have a couple of workarounds. First, I'm going to show you from our guides, tutorials, and webinars page. We have a whole page that covers this, and I even made a short video on it because we get so many questions about accessing articles. So I'm going to post that in the chat. And yes, our recording will be posted on our YouTube channel, which is down here on our guides, tutorials, and webinars page. You can access the YouTube channel there. All right, so since we're asking about accessing articles, I'm going to go ahead and show you one of those. Just trying to see if there's one without a PDF link. All right, so this covers the basic steps. I'm just going to go over them verbally, and then you can always refer back if you need to. So a couple of things to note here. This link isn't going to work. So if you want to save this article to get back to it, I recommend pressing the Cite button and saving this citation in a Word document somewhere that you'll have access to, as well as you can save this permalink, which will take you back to this item record page. So normally, if we have direct access to the article through EBSCO, which is this database we're in, it will be listed here. You might say find full text in a different database. It might say PDF, something like that. In this case, there's nothing. So what we will want to do is to take a look at the journal. This is the journal title search we were looking at originally. So I'm going to copy that in. So to note, this is the article title, and this is the journal it's published in, and we can see it was published in 2022, volume 11, issue 8. So I'm going to go over to journal title on the main search page, and this is covered in the video that I added with in the access link above. Protocols is, you can see we have access to it, and we were looking at 2022, and it is an open access journal. So I'm going to go with the first one. You could click on any of these since they all cover up to the present. Okay, and where was this? It was 2022, volume 11, issue 8. So all of these journal pages look a little bit different, but there's usually going to be some sort of like older journals or archive or something like that. Journal information. This is actually kind of a weird one. So we're looking at 2022. It's less intuitive than the others. And we were looking for volume 11, issue 1, I believe, issue 8. Okay. So I think we have to go volume 11, issue 8. So you can see they can be a little confusing to dig through. You can also ask us if you have any issues. So in this case, we were looking for risk and resilience. And this is all the articles that were published in this specific issue. So you can see we've got access to it there, so you could download the PDF from there. If that didn't work, you're getting an error message, anything like that, I will note for the Ovid users, one really easy workaround is to just go right to the, in Ovid's case, I wouldn't say this with most of the other ones, but in Ovid's case, to go right into the Find Resources and search Ovid, and then just search the title within, oh right, Ovid is the middle word of a lot of these, so we'll go with O. All right, and we're at the end of our time, so feel free to log off. If you're done, I'm just kind of covering questions. So you would go into Ovid down here, and I'm not sure why it's not coming up, but it should. All right, go into Ovid over here, and then you can just directly go into the article, search the article title you're looking for. I did help a student with that yesterday, so I know Ovid can be a bit frustrating. I have been having them work a lot more lately, so that's great. So we were going to cover the last couple of things you can do is if the article isn't accessible through the journal title search, which is our option 2, the next thing you can do is search the article in Google Scholar. And I'll just show you, you can add AU library links into Google Scholar. So if you go over here to this 3-line, this is also in our Google Scholar guide, so don't worry about it too much. Press settings and then press library links. And you can see I've already got Athabasca University added, but you would just search it. I don't think it comes up since I already have it added, and just select both of these to make sure that's saved. And then if we are to search the article title once again, this is also an open access article, so we should be able to get the PDF either way. So you can see there's a link here, so this should take us not to it, but sometimes it takes you right to it, and because this is an open access article, should be able to access it right from here, which is the page we were looking at just before. And if it's not available there, we do have interlibrary loans. That means we have borrowing privileges with other libraries throughout the country. And if we don't have access to an article, they'll email it to us. If it's an older article, it can take a little bit longer just because we have to wait for them to scan it. But if it's something they already have digitized, we usually get it in a day or two. So highly recommend using interlibrary loans. So within here, you can go to our interlibrary loan guide. And this covers all the information you need about interlibrary loans, but it's also just a really quick form to fill out. You basically just put in the citation information for the article, and then it gets emailed to you. So highly recommend that. And I guess that's about all we've got time for, but if anyone has additional questions, feel free to put those in the chat. I'll be here for until about 12:45. So can you request an extension from the library for a book on loan? Yes, you can. This is covered in our FAQs. If you weren't here right at the beginning, I'll show you. So I know this is under renew, I believe. So I just searched renew. And I can go over this for you as well. So if we go into my library account, log in, and you can see which books I have out, and then I could just select to renew one. So it's quite easy. You are only allowed to renew 3 times in here. And if you're having trouble, feel free to email us, or we'll just email you. And if your 3 times is used up, then you have to email us to renew it, which just, we have to make sure no one else has requested it, but that's all for that. Any other questions?
Hey, Joanna, you missed what someone asked. Why is mental health in the quotation mark?
Sorry, I missed that one. Thanks, Sandy. We put any terms that are multi-words into quotation marks, so it searches them together. If we didn't have mental health in quotation marks, it would search for information about both mental and health. Some of it could be useful to us, but searching them together will mean we're searching for mental health specifically. I know I had a student earlier this week who was a bit confused about that too, and was like, do I have to put everything in quotation marks? Only anything that's over 1 word. So I'm wondering, does anyone need links to anything else that they were confused about or have any other questions? Basically, the takeaway we wanted from this session is just that the library is here to help you. We have lots of resources to help you. We do live bookings. We have chat offered Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10:30 to 2:30. It's right over here anytime you're on the library website. So it'll say it's either open or it'll say what hours it's available. You can also email us. So if you go into our Contact Us page, you can email us, you can call us, and you can also fill out a form. I usually use the Tarot, but both Zotero and Mendeley are super useful. I was just going to show you in our guides, tutorials, and webinars page, we do have a guide on the basics of Zotero and Mendeley and how you would want to choose one or the other. I believe we'll be having a citation management session later, I think this season, like in the next couple of months, because we get so many questions about it. Unfortunately, because we don't subscribe to any of these are free resources, we can't offer a lot of support if you're having any errors or getting any issues, but we can help you with how to use it. And they also have tons of really great tutorials, so that's really good. So we will be offering a session on that soon. And I'm not sure how you heard about this, but it will be promoted in the same way. We do post everything on Twitter and Facebook, and then we email out as well. We also have a session, I'm just trying to remember where it is, on keeping organized, which does cover a bit of how you might want to use citation management like Zotero or Mendeley. I'm just trying to remember where exactly it is. We have a copy of the recording right here, so I'll share that link in the chat. And that covers a lot of how you might want to journal your search, thinking about more advanced searching. It's also done with the Write site, so it covers a lot of the writing process and actual note-taking, which can be really useful as you're working on your research process.